Hey guys, so we're going to be doing a video today on the first and second step of our Say Yes activity. So Say Yes is a training activity that I learned from Brittany Brower, who is a trainer out in Arizona, and she's awesome. So I really like this because it's a nice structured way to help clients and dogs. So we're going to be teaching it here today. So I've got one of my dogs, Chris, here. Chris has not done this particular exercise with me before, although he's done training with me because I've had him for a few years. So we're going to use him to start teaching this activity. And when I first start teaching this, I'm just going to kind of start walking backwards a little bit. Yes. And any sort of acknowledgement, step one is acknowledgement, that my dog gives me, I'm going to yes. So yes, them looking over my general direction, them looking somewhere on my body. I'm going to say yes to my dog. I'm going to walk back over here so you guys can see a little bit closer. Yes. And I start going backwards because it helps draw the dog in to me and just kind of get him going, hey, yeah, you're at the end of the leash. You're somewhere at the end of the leash. And I'm going to give him some food. In this case, Chris is working for some Origin kibble, which is what I use with treats a lot with my raw fed dogs. So you want to be using your dog's regular food. So you should not be using or should not feel like you have to use like super high value treats like chicken. Because you want to do this in a low enough distraction environment that you can use your dog's regular food they got to eat. Yes. So Chris has already decided we're going to move on to step 2, which is eye contact. He says, hey, I'm just going to already start staring you in the eye. So again, step 1, meaning I like to kind of walk backwards a little bit. Yes. The dog kind of starts looking in my direction. I'm going to say yes. The dog comes over and gets the food. Step 2 is going to be that we're going to start with some eye contact. So eventually, usually the dog is going to start looking more and more at you and getting closer to looking at you in the eye. And so that's going to be our step 2. And you're really going to just sort of casually graduate into this step with the dog. I'm going to add in a little bit of some food chase here with him for some of the times that I say it. That'll get us up so we can reset. So to get going, I'm going to mark a spot here. Yes. And Chris, you're going to make this way too easy. We'll have a lot more fun when I do this with my dog Ishka, because she hasn't done anything like this much at all. Yes. So I don't care about the sit right now. So I don't need duration. And I don't need a sit right now in step 2. I just need eye contact. So I'm going to plant my feet in one spot. Yes. And it doesn't matter. I'm going to try to distract Chris here so you can see like what happens if a dog starts sniffing on the ground. So I'm going to toss a few pieces of food. Chris, release. Yeah, Chris, release. And say my dog wants to go sniff, I'm going to turn in their direction. Yes. And again, he's just giving me eye contact. I don't need the sit right now. Just rolling in step 2. Yes. I'm going to add a little bit of food play in here. He's like, oh, this is kind of fun. So I'm going to go and I'm going to pick my spot again. Yes. And again, I'm going to toss some food to get my dog distracted for demoing. I would not do this normally when I'm teaching with a new dog because I wouldn't want them to be distracted, but I want you to be able to see what does it even look like. So if I toss some food, Chris, release. So say Chris got up and went to go sniff the ground. I'm going to turn and face over here. I'm going to face him there. I'm going to kind of just face him. And this whole time I'm doing this, I'm not actually going to be talking to the dog. Yes. The only reason I'm talking right now is because I'm doing instruction. Yes. Yes. I'm going to do a little bit of food play here. It's like, oh, this is kind of fun. I'm going to pick a spot again. Yes. Yes. I'll do a little bit more food play. Pick a spot. I'm going to face the dog. Yes. Yes. I'll do a little food play. So the whole idea here is your dog is learning how to activate you. Eye contact at this point is going to activate me to say yes and give the food. And as we go through the steps of this, we're going to increase the criteria of what it takes to get me to yes. And by doing that, we'll take the dog step by step versus expecting them to do the end product at the beginning. So this can be a really helpful thing for both the dog and you, because we're breaking things down into steps for you guys. Okay, so again, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to pick a spot, and I'm going to face my dog. Yes. Do a little food play. Oh. I'll come back. I'm going to pick a spot. Yes. And actually, that's right there why I don't do food play or food chasing every time, because I want him to, yes. Yes. There we go. I don't want him to jump up every time he hears the yes word, because there's times I'm not going to want that. So just a brief overview here. First step, step 1, which is acknowledgement. We're going to do some backward walking with the dog. Yes, and anytime the dog looks in our general direction, we're going to yes and give the dog food. It's not going to be long before your dog's really starting to look at you. Yes. With this. And at that point, we're going to stop with our walking. And we're going to pick a spot. And we're going to rotate in that spot. So if he was sniffing over here, I'd rotate over there. Yes. Sorry. I was like, hey, bud, we haven't moved on to that many steps yet. And then I'm going to rotate between just yesing and handing my dog the food, and yes. And yes, and doing some food play. So what I'm doing here, and I'll come closer so you can see better. Pick my spot, face my dog, is yes. When I go to reach down, Chris isn't going to know if we're going to do food chasing until I actually go to give him the food. Because, yes. Because we're actually going to have me just hand him the food. Yes. And then it'll be food goes in front of him and we do the food chase. And I like that. That's my personal preference on this. That way, just because they hear yes, they're not springing out of their seat for things. Good job.